Positivity keeps on scoring. Good vibes, great kiss, and stories to share. Overt Morning Show, rising with you everywhere.
You come my way. What does the government mean by that? Caution like that, like how? Nigerians have been killed left, right, and center. And there has never been any action except to condemn these things by mouth. This xenophobic attack is not done by mouth, it's done physically. You imagine, Mr. President, somebody in his own house, somebody in his own place of business, without no notice, and then mobs begin to chase that man, kill him, burn him. As we are talking today, over 1,200 Nigerians are already being evacuated. And what does the government do? Caution. Caution what? Caution what? Don't you? Are we not Nigerians? Don't Nigerians deserve to live in other countries? Even if they are armed robbers, even if they are criminals, are they supposed to be killed in that kind of manner? And that's why countries like United States of America is different. And that's why you could see the connection between United States citizens and their country. Here we don't care. It doesn't matter. Yet, the cornerstone of Nigerian foreign policy is Africa. But that has to change. We must show Nigerians in diaspora that we care. We must show that we care, that we have a government that can protect them. Simplicity, Mr. President, talking, lamenting, is not going to take us anywhere. There has to be an action. And actually, let's sever diplomatic relationship with South Africa. Let's sever relationship with South Africa. So if we do that, we are sending a signal. But every time we come here to this chamber, and I like the motion presented by my younger brother Suko. We can't keep quiet, Mr. President. Enough is enough. Silence is no longer golden. A so-called giant of Africa. Our citizens have been killed left, right, and center, and all that we do here is caution my foot. Pardon me for using that language. There must be an action. And this chamber, Mr. President, must rise to this occasion and tell the federal government that it's enough. Severe relationship with South Africa. Severe complete relationship with South Africa.
You have exhausted your time.
All right, Lagos, good morning. Welcome back. This is the Wake Up Conversation here on Overt Radio. That video was a mix-up. That wasn't the video we were supposed to play. But yes, the Senate yesterday also condemned, called on the federal government to stop the rehabilitation, of Boko Haram insurgents. Calling on the Boko Haram, calling on the federal government to stop the rehabilitation and reintegration of Boko Haram insurgents. So that is what the Boko and I will be discussing this morning. But that video ought not to be the video that was supposed, that audio was not the audio that was supposed to play. But that is still in line with what we're about to do this morning as the federal government. So today's topic is should the federal government end rehabilitation and the repentance of Boko Haram terrorists. So in case you just joined us, this is Overt Radio. This is the Wake Up Conversation here on Overt Radio. We are broadcasting to you live from the city of Lagos. Lagos is a center of excellence. You can watch these past programs on our various social media handles, on our various social media platforms, on X, Overt Radio Live, on Instagram, Overt News. On YouTube, we are currently streaming live on YouTube, Overt Radio Live, and also we are on TikTok, overt.radio.lagos. IBK, over to you.
Okay, thank you. You haven't done my introduction, though.
I'm sorry. Because this morning.
Good morning, guys. Good morning. Okay, Nigerian security challenges remain a major source of concern, and today the Senate has taken a firm position on one of the country's most controversial security policies. The Red Chamber is calling on the federal government to end the rehabilitation of repentant terrorists and instead ensure that those convicted of terrorism and related offenses are prosecuted in accordance with the law. The lawmakers say the move would strengthen justice, improve deterrence, and restore public confidence in the fight against terrorism. The resolution followed renewed concern over rising attack, kidnappings, and killing involving serving and retired military personnel, including the tragic death of retired Major General Rabe Abubakar, who was abducted alongside his wife in Katsina State and later died in captivity. The Senate has also resolved to meet with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu over the worsening security situation, while urging security agencies to improve intelligence gathering, deploy modern security technologies, and investigate the use of funds allocated for military operations and personal welfare. The big question we're about to talk about is, should Nigeria and the rehabilitation of repentant terrorists and focus solely on prosecution, or is there still a place of rehabilitation in the country's counter-terrorism strategy?
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ibukun, for that snappy read of that story. Yes, should the federal government of Nigeria pardon, terrorists in the country? Nigeria found itself to this level of uncontrollable insecurity in this country due to the levity, due to the way and manner insecurity was being handled over the years. Remember that Nigeria witnessed its first abduction, mass abduction for that matter, in 2014, when the Chibok girls were abducted from their schools in Borno State, under the watchful eyes of the former president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, who swore to protect the lives and property of Nigerians, and even the security operatives. But, after that abduction, it paves the way for several abductions. It gives them the opportunity. It gives the terrorists, it gives the armed bandits, it gave the kidnappers the opportunity to start this new trend, to start the trend which was new as at that time, abduction of school children, not only in primary and secondary school. Even we have had reports over the years during the administration of late Muhammadu Buhari that higher institution students, particularly from Kaduna and other neighboring states in the north, were also abducted from their school. We have read in the pages of newspaper, we have seen on radio, we have seen on television, we have heard on radio that armed bandits will invade a school on the broad daylight, either on the broad daylight or even at night, invade a school, and move and abduct students in their dormitories. Now, due to the lack of activity from the government, due to the lack of seriousness from the government of the day as at that time, the Goodluck Ebele Jonathan administration, Muhammadu Buhari's administration, who was there for solid 8 years, due to the lack of seriousness of these two leaders, it has created a huge problem, an insurmountable problem in this current administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We are not saying that when Tinubu was in power, insecurity was high. We can't say that until he leaves power, until he leaves office. But due to the failures of these two past leaders, Goodluck Jonathan and late former President Muhammadu Buhari, due to the failures of these two leaders, it has created a monster. Insecurity has now become a monster in this country that even the current administration is confused on what to do. And in the midst of this, the highly glorified, glamorous Nigerian army, at one time say that one of the ways to curb insecurity is to pardon terrorists, is to rehabilitate them and reintegrate them back into the society. These are people who have abducted women and children, boys and girls, men, who have taken advantage of these women, who have slept and taken advantage of their sexuality. These are people who have committed suicide at various market squares. These are people who have destroyed properties, who have wreaked havoc, who have caused chaos in the lives of people. Government properties have been destroyed because of these criminal elements. And one sane man who says is an army, is a military person, would wake up one morning and say that one of the ways to stop this insurgency is to pardon those people that were arrested. The criminal element is to rehabilitate them, reintegrate them back into the society. And my question this morning during the review of this headline was that these people, they have been indoctrinated, they have been trained to think in a particular way, they have been radicalized. So how are you sure that the rehabilitation that you are giving them or they are undergoing, how are you sure that they will turn a new leaf? How are you sure that they will repent from their old ways? That is what we are about to talk about this morning, IBK.
Okay, thank you. When I actually saw this story, I actually said this is a very, very sensitive story, because let's look at it from this angle. Rehabilitation based, I would say rehabilitation is based on belief, because there are some set of people when they go into this kind of thing, they are caught of crimes. They are seen that, like, they accuse them of crimes. When they face justice, they give them rehabilitation, they go back to the society, they don't live the same life. And looking at the other hand, there are still some people we will call the terrorists, the same set of people. They still have this, I would just call it is rehabilitation is based on belief. Belief about individual. So if this person would change, does not mean another person will change. And that sort of people that want to give rehabilitation will still go back to the society and do the same thing. Now I want to give justice for the victim, the people that their lives were lost, the people that the communities that were tampered, a lot of things that happened to, even the people that was beheaded, a lot of things that happened in the community. Let's look at looking at that kind of thing. Should we make them feel like they just lost their loved ones and the person that actually caused that kind of crime will just go scot-free? So we should give justice for the victim. They should make them feel, because if I should give my own personal opinion, I won't give it now, because my own personal opinion should be justice before rehabilitation. If they face the justice, they face their punishment, they can actually call a counselor to counsel them. If people that actually needed it, they actually feel like, okay, yes, you needed it, like, why did you go into this act? Talk to them, ask questions. Then you will see in the way they speak, the way they talk to you, if this person is really willing to change. Going back to the society, ask them, why did you, if it is because of job or because of one or two things. If government can actually put necessary things into act for them, it's actually a way of rehabilitation, not just sending them to the society. Because once a crime is still a crime, you will still go back. You just like, once a thief is also a thief, you will still go back to that society to do the same thing if you're unable to survive. So I want to say one thing, talking about, can every terrorist truly repent? That was why I'm going back to the belief I said earlier. So it is about personal belief. Like, if this person can repent, can all terrorists truly repent? Because you killed somebody today, you can actually try to kill somebody tomorrow. It is in your blood. Before you can actually be a concrete terrorist, you can be a bandit. You've been doing it consistently, so it is part and parcel of you. So you can't just leave it one day and government will just say they just want to give rehabilitation for a terrorist that have been killing. No, this is not about stealing alone. Killing is involved. It is part of the blood. So can a terrorist truly repent? This is a question because I don't know if you have something to say about, can a terrorist truly repent?
Ibukun, thank you very much. I like the angle that you started with. Number one, before I answer that question, number one, you talked about justice for those people, whose life those who were justice for the victims. Either they were killed, either their life has been dehumanized or traumatized. They are victims. Now, one of the ways of getting justice, for these people is to do the necessary things. Okay, and the law know how to take care of those things. Now, you talked about, can a terrorist repent? Now, I liken a terrorist to an addicted smoker.
Okay.
I liken a terrorist to an addicted alcoholic person. You will know because a terrorist is, like you said, it is in their blood. That thing has been encoded into their mindset. It has been encoded into their neural pathways, into their psyche. And before they joined any terrorist organization, remember, these are people who are members of ISIS. ISIS is an international terrorist organization. ISWAP is an international terrorist organization. These are splinter group from Al-Qaeda network. Al-Qaeda network that was formed by the former Osama bin Laden back then when the US World Trade Center was brought down. And these are people who have links with international terrorist organizations. And for the sake of our viewers and listeners, Boko Haram terrorists is an international terrorist organization. So how can the Nigerian army think that they will successfully and completely rehabilitate Boko Haram terrorists? How can a Nigerian army that people who served in the army are not being well taken care of? Those people who gave 35 years of their lives, those people who served 60 years of their lives, who gave 35 years of their lives, and when they leave the service, you cannot tell, their life is ramshackled. Now, how can that institution say that an institution that cannot efficiently take care of people who have served in it, how can they successfully ensure that these terrorists who have been indoctrinated, these terrorists whose mind have been turned to stone, how can they successfully be rehabilitated? It's not possible. That is my answer.
Thank you so much. So moving forward, rehabilitation. Okay, you actually made. I actually love your points. So I want to come in from this angle. If we actually feel like these people, their heart is full of stone, rehabilitation is also a good role for things like this in our country. It should not be dismissed. I just feel like there are some countries too that make use of prosecution and rehabilitation. They make use of the two. So I actually feel like we should come back to our senses because of confidence, of public trust. Because Nigerians will always ask questions because of public trust. Because if they feel, our government will actually do the same thing they used to do, when they feel like these people come, they come, they invade to communities, when they arrest them, they would release them again. So when Nigerians will start having this thoughts of not having trust in the country. So I actually feel to build the confidence, trust of Nigerians, of the citizens, we should add prosecution and rehabilitation together. Justice should come first before rehabilitation. We should not use justice for rehabilitation. We should not use it together. If we want to, they should face their punishments before doing any other thing like that.
Now, fantastic. Now, in case our listeners might be wondering, or because I don't know where this idea of rehabilitation and pardoning, or I don't know where this idea is coming from, particularly from the Nigerian army, but countries who attempted, to pardon terrorists, in quotes, countries who attempted to pardon terrorists, things have not been easy with that country. Okay, now according to an online research, no country explicitly grants pardons specifically to individuals designated as terrorists as a standard legal practice. While many nations possess executive pardon powers held by president, yes, during independence, there are some prisoners that have been in jail for several years, and the president or the governor, it is constitutional, in his own will, at his will, he wishes to pardon some prisoners. The governors or president and even minister, I think minister does that if I'm correct. Of course, prisoner can be pardoned. But while many nations possess executive pardon powers held by presidents, kings, and parliaments, these mechanisms are generally intended for clemency, correctional judicial errors, you get that, or reducing prison overcrowding rather than forgiving acts of terrorism. Now, countries that have pardoned terrorists is Romania. When Romania ventured to pardon terrorists, there were mass protests in 2017 over a government plan to pardon thousands of prisoners, including those convicted of corruption, with critics fearing it could benefit political allies, though the context was not specifically limited to terrorism. Remember, we had an interview a few weeks ago. We interviewed a security expert, and he did say that the reason why the Nigerian army is clamoring on pardoning ex-terrorists and repentant Boko Haram is because these people, if they are not pardoned, because these people, they have secrets that most of these government officials have been engaging themselves in. So that is one of the reasons why the Nigerian army is clamoring on pardoning repentant Boko Haram, because they know that these repentant Boko Haram, they have sponsors within the corridors of power, and these people, they don't want to be exposed, even in the Nigerian army, as claimed by security experts. So that is the reason why the Nigerian army say that, okay, we can pardon some of these people. These are people who have secrets, who have affiliations, who have connection, because so that at the end of the day, these people will not expose their sponsors. So that is one of the main reasons, and it is detrimental to the development of this country, for God's sake. Now, mass clemency. Countries like Thailand, Morocco, and Iran frequently issued mass pardons to reduce prison population or mark national event, but these are broad administrative acts rather than targeted forgiveness of terrorism. So no country in the world has embarked, even the United States of America will never pardon terrorists, even till tomorrow. So I think it is high time the Nigerian army, the federal government, need to start rethinking about this rehabilitation. Like Ibukundi said, justice must be served. You cannot use pardoning as a way of justice. You must first of all administer justice, because people's life have been lost already. Victims have been separated forever from their families. The Chibok girls that were abducted, the over 200 Chibok girls they abducted, not everybody have up to now returned to their family member. They have been separated forever. So this is the justice that Ibuku is talking about. This is the justice that must be served, and pardoning should not be a way of justice. Any last word?
I have a question for you. Don't you think the terrorists would now feel, after this rehabilitation, they will feel like it is now a business, because it is now becoming a transactional business. Now, if anything like this occurred, they feel like they are free. Like, I don't know, having freedom in our country.
Well, that is a very sensitive question. The law says that, according to the Constitution, if a crime is committed, because if you say you want to give freedom, it will exacerbate. If you say you want to give freedom to people who have wreaked havoc on innocent lives, if you want to give them freedom, then you are not helping the insecurity situation in the country. So for security to be curbed, for insecurity to be curbed, lives have to go down. Some people need to be punished for it, so that it will serve as a deterrent. It will serve as a lesson to people who are thinking about engaging themselves in terrorism. Because when they see that, oh, if I am into terrorism for 3 years and if I'm arrested, at the end of the day, I will get my freedom. It will also send a note of signal to others. Yes. Because if you are granting freedom to terrorists, that means that you are not effective in the fight towards insecurity. You are giving opportunity for more people to come into security, for more people to start this armed banditry, kidnapping, abduction, and killing of innocent lives and properties of this country. So the best way, because no country has engaged itself in rehabilitating or pardoning terrorists, the war of terrorists, because this is a high degree of criminality in any nation. Terrorism. What is terrorism? Causing terror and fear in the lives of people. So if the United States of America, if other countries of the world would not pardon terrorists, how much more we Nigerians, how much more the federal government, the developing countries say that they want to pardon, when we don't have the manpower, when we don't have the equipment, when we don't have the political will to confront. And these are not just external enemies, these are enemies within. If we do not have the political will, if we do not have the manpower to confront internal enemies, then how much more those people who are outsiders?
Exactly.
How much more? Any word?
So I just want to say it is high time our governments start taking insecurity serious. Anyone found guilty of terrorism, of anything, should face their legal consequences of their action. They should face it.
All right, fantastic. So face it. Anybody that is arrested for terrorism, for armed banditry, because I think last year the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mr. Mohammed Idris, has criminalized any form of banditry, any form of the federal government has criminalized any form of banditry, terrorism. So why would the Nigerian army, start conflicting conflicting itself with what the federal government has said? So the Nigerian army should abide by that declaration that the federal government made last year in criminalizing banditry, terrorism, and other forms of criminal activity in the country. All right, because that is how far we can go this morning. Should federal government, pardon terrorists in the country? And we've laid down the fact. We've, made the argument. We've given you, the things that we feel that should be done right, and that is what we are here to do here on Overt Radio. Don't go anywhere. 9:15 political update will be here.